CityWorks Expo is a collaborative, co-creative, and multidisciplinary idea exchange and festival conference that happens each fall in Roanoke, Virginia. By day, attendees are immersed in thought-provoking presentations, riveting performances, and engaging dialogue. By night, the conference continues with after-hours networking opportunities during street festivals, parties, and musical events. To learn more about Expo, visit cityworksexpo.com. Expo 2014 was made possible by these fine sponsors.
Technology is penetrating every aspect of our lives. And that's a wonderful thing, because now we have access to the internet in our pockets anytime we want. Just last year, Time released an article that stated that there are more people in this world that have a cell phone than have working toilets. Welcome to what is being called the digital world. What's exciting about the digital world is that in the middle of the 20th century, there were some people by the name of Vannevar Bush who kind of did some brain work on what the internet could be. And to them, the internet wasn't something that would take over the world, but rather something that would unleash the global potential of the creation, not of the consumption. Since I've started this talk, more than 60 hours of film has been dumped into the YouTube channel. What we forget is that these two were once a piece of cutting-edge technology. They started out in 3000 BC as a bit of bamboo dipped in ink and have evolved to what some of us maybe still carry in our pockets. But my question for all of you today is, in today's digital society, is the pen and handwriting and the handwritten note dead? It sounds like you guys are kind of along the same thought as myself. Maybe it still has a place in today's age, in today's digital society. And if you will, I'd love to take you on a little bit of a thought experiment. Think for a moment about the last time you received a handwritten note. Think about who it was from and where you were when you read it. Think about the impact it had on you, and think about what you did with that note after you read it. If you're like any of the hundreds of people that myself or my fellow co-founders have spoken to over the last year and a half, you might be struggling to put your finger on that intangible aspect of the handwritten word, the paper medium that is valuable. But unanimously, for the most part, people agree with the power of the handwritten word to stand apart as a format of communication. And you're not alone. Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, in 2014 made it his personal goal to write one handwritten note a day to somebody that had an impact on his life. Our company spent some time just a few weeks ago doing interviews at job fairs, and we found that 98% of corporate recruiters value a handwritten note. Do you want a job, or are you hiring people? Taking the time to send a handwritten note isn't just important, but it has a marked capacity to put you above the competition. So if you're with me on the fact that a handwritten note is important, what mediums do we have at our disposal to engage in this form of communication? You could scrawl something down on a napkin in Denny's and slip it under your buddy's door, or start with a blank piece of parchment and a pen. But often, for many, that can be intimidating. The traditional greeting card racks that you'll find at Hallmarks and Kroger's across the country provide a sort of supported creativity in a sense that lets you kind of get started in forming a message. But it's hard to find a card that speaks to you. And often the cover image doesn't fit with the message on the inside. The e-card, you all chuckle, is perhaps humorous distraction at work when the cartoons are singing, but does not have the same impact of a handwritten message with your signature on it. And often, for many, it's just another email in your inbox. There's some companies working at blending the two spaces, like Treat and Moonpig. No reaction from the audience. 50% of you probably haven't heard of them, but they'll send cards automatically, remotely, after designing it online. And it doesn't seem to serve the same essence of that tangible piece of paper. So for many of us, unfortunately, it seems like we're stuck with the traditional greeting card rack that Mr. Hallmark invented in 1936 and innovatively called the Ive display to bring the greeting card out of the drawer. Other than the occasional card that sings, fundamentally, the greeting card is still displayed in the same way. I want to know if we actually have to be stuck with that. Do we have to settle with that type of format for what we as a digital society view as a really meaningful way to communicate? Or is there an opportunity to innovate in that space and unleash some of the creative capacity that this society has? Me and my fellow two co-founders in Cardisle, where we spell Isle like the island, have developed a red box for greeting cards that lets you personalize the message on the inside of the card instead of being stuck with what somebody at Hallmark thought was appropriate for your situation. Our art is locally sourced from independent artists across the community in an attempt to establish a more meaningful conversation between the customer, the recipient, and the artist in a local sense. And what's exciting about our company is that we've placed 5 kiosks in Blacksburg. We incorporated in November of 2013, and by way of this talk, I would like to publicly announce that in the middle of November, we are coming to this amazing city of Roanoke to provide to all of you the opportunity to help us transform the greeting card industry. Thank you so much for your attention. If you are an artist, someone with a location, or somebody who believes in the power of a handwritten message in today's digital world, we would love to hear from you. Keep an eye out for a card aisle near you.